We now investigate the impact of an increase in the wage rate on both the short-run and the long-run competitive equilibrium. An increase in the wage rate is different from an increase in the rental rate of capital that we investigated in graph 14.9. The difference is that labor is a variable input in the short run, whereas capital is not, and therefore costs associated with labor are short-run marginal costs, whereas costs associated with capital are not part of short-run marginal cost. We begin with the market demand and short-run market supply curves and the short-run equilibrium, where price is P star and the overall output in the industry is X star. Each firm's short-run supply curve is given as a portion of its short-run marginal cost curve, and together these supply curves for firms add up to the industry or market supply curve. In order for this to be a short-run equilibrium that's consistent with a long-run equilibrium condition that no firm has an incentive to enter or exit, it must also be that the long-run average cost curves of the firms reach their lowest point at the equilibrium price P star, implying zero long-run profit for firms. Implicitly, we're assuming again that all firms in the industry are identical. An increase in the wage rate increases the short-run marginal cost curve of the firms and therefore shifts the short-run supply curve for each firm to the left. This in turn causes the sum of the short-run supply curve of firms, or the market supply curve, to also shift to the left, leading to a short-run increase in the equilibrium price, a drop in the output in the industry, and a drop of production for each of the firms. To investigate the long-run equilibrium, we can begin with the downward sloping market demand curve and the horizontal long-run market supply curve, assuming that all firms in the industry are identical. The equilibrium price P star results in an output level of X star for the industry. The lowest point of the long-run average cost curve for each firm will again have to occur at the equilibrium price P star in the initial long-run equilibrium. And we can add in panel C what we've learned from panel A, that the price will rise in the short run as the marginal cost curves in the short run shift, as illustrated in panel B. The long-run equilibrium price, however, will be determined by the new lowest point of the long-run average cost curves for all the firms. This will imply a further change in price, in our case here indicating a further shift in the short-run market supply curve as firms exit the industry until zero profit occurs once again. As with the increase in the cost of capital that we illustrated in graph 14.9, we can't be sure whether the new lowest point of the average cost curve will lie to the left or to the right of the original lowest point. As we've drawn it here, the lowest points of the before and after wage increase long-run average cost curves occur at the same output quantity. From this we can conclude that firms must have exited, because each firm that remains produces the same amount, but the industry overall produces less. The same conclusion will hold if the lowest point of the green average cost curve lies to the right of the lowest point of the blue average cost curve, because then each firm would produce more in the new equilibrium, with the industry as a whole producing less. But if the lowest point of the new green average cost curve were to lie to the left of the lowest point of the original blue average cost curve, we wouldn't be as sure whether firms exited or entered, and therefore couldn't be as sure whether the new green long-run equilibrium price is above or below the magenta short-run equilibrium price. Of course, it has to be, since costs went up, that the new long-run equilibrium green price lies above the original blue long-run equilibrium price.